I spent the last week trying HTML versus Markdown in Ref for different situations to see which one was better in different places. And there's like some clear winners where HTML wins and clear places where Markdown wins. The like slam dunk winner for HTML is data visualization. Like you get beautiful graphics, Markdown could never. Data scientists should be generating a lot more HTML these days. The other place it wins is with things like prototyping. So one of the things I was working on this week was dropping in files. And so I was prototyping it. And the thing that happened here that was different was that I had less polish work at the end. So I'm used to this workflow where I do some planning, I describe a lot of the behaviors I want. It generally works. And then I go with my design engineer eye to make it just pixel perfect. This time I got to spend that time up front and do the prototyping. This was it. And then I went and I had the agents go do the implementation, and it just basically came out looking nice and right. And I think the reason is that I had spent the time and we had the code definition of this was actually clearer than an English language definition would have been. And the same thing was actually true. The same thing played out again when I was prototyping a new interaction for the way comments work in Ref. So the comment widget that lets you choose where to leave a comment on the doc. And I was working on this prototype for this, the way this moves and the way you drag and stuff. And it ended up just there were some bugs at the end just because this is a thorny piece of code, but the behavior was there just the way I wanted it. And I think that was because I had just expressed it in code, and that was the cleanest way to express that. Both for me to make sure it was right and for the agent who implemented it to understand what I wanted. So HTML winning with data visualization and prototyping. You would think it would win for all visualizations, but that's not really true. So for another thing we were working on, we had this network diagram, and I don't want HTML for this. I don't want the agent to invent its own thing. I don't want all those tokens. Just give me Mermaid. Just give me a clean, one that I know how to read this. Everyone's going to understand this. And so I think there are cases where HTML is great when you need some more flexibility, like the general data visualization. But if you're doing a flow or a network diagram or these things that are well documented, maybe try Mermaid or something different, right? Which then brings me to when does Markdown win, right? Why would we ever use Markdown? And the case I have for that is hierarchical text. Hierarchical text is core to both the specs for Markdown and HTML, because that's how humans engage with information. We write titles and we put subheaders, and that's just very natural for us. A good Markdown editor and a nice HTML styling of your hierarchical text, probably there's marginal difference in the legibility and your ability to absorb that information. Especially if you are absorbing the same type of information, where I'm working on these technical plans and they have kind of the same hierarchy every time. I don't necessarily want that to be rewritten or messed with every time. Sure, I could have a style system for my HTML, but I'm just spending tokens to get kind of the same thing that Markdown already gives me. So that's where I think Markdown wins with hierarchical text, which is a lot of what specs are. So that's what I found. In conclusion, there's the data visualization, prototyping, and behavior. HTML miles ahead. Flowcharts and diagrams, probably you want a tool built for that, like Mermaid. And hierarchical text, just use Markdown. It's token efficient, it's easy to read,